Good. How's everyone doing today? Awesome. So just a quick show of hands, who loves food here? Awesome. I love food too. So let's do a fun sensory exercise. I want everyone to close their eyes, close your eyes, and think about the most amazing meal you've ever had. Now take a second to think about it. Take a deep breath and remember the smell. Remember everything you heard, who you were with. Maybe that's the day you proposed to your fiance or your wife. Now, think about the first bite you took and what it felt like, what it tasted like, the texture, maybe it was crunchy, sweet. And if this takes you to a good place, please smile. Now take a deep breath and open your eyes. There are a lot of things that excite me, but I must say that I'm most passionate about food. And this stems from my childhood. When I was a kid, my mom was a flight attendant. And I wasn't too keen on her job because it required her to travel a lot. And as a kid, I wanted her to be there all the time. So every trip was the same scenario. I cried, I threw tantrums, I hung onto the door, please, mommy, don't leave. But every time she traveled, I looked forward to her return because she came home with amazing stories. And these were not stories in words, they were actually stories in food. Every time my mom went to a new country, she would bring me back a food gift. And to me, it was a small treasure native to a land that she had just visited. And these were really simple gifts, like sometimes a fruit or a cookie. And sometimes she just got me a candy bar that she just managed to snag at the airport so as not to feel guilty when she came home. But as simple and inexpensive as these gifts were, they all came with an amazing story. A story of a people, a culture, a land that, as a child, I grew eager and excited to discover. So I became very curious about the world. I wanted to know about the kids who ate those foods, you know, what they looked like, the songs they sang, the games they played with, and I wanted to learn about people. So food became the lens through which I began to view the world, and it became my life. So there's something that's never going to cease to amaze me about food is its immense ability to bring people together. And to me, that's the root of community. There's something about food that makes us want to share it. And I don't know, have you ever eaten with strangers? Okay, so if you haven't, I think you should do it. I think it's the most delicious window into another person's life. And a meal with a stranger that has totally changed the course of my life happened in Barcelona in 2007. I traveled to Barcelona with no other goal than to eat my way around the city. And there's this one restaurant that I really wanted to go to. It's called El Bulli. Some of you are probably familiar with it. And I wanted to go there so badly, but it's almost impossible to get a reservation. It's only open like 4 months in a year. So I emailed everyone and said, please, please, please get me into El Bulli. And ironically, the only person who could get me into this restaurant was one of Barcelona's most famous soccer player. I'm like, yeah, right, he's going to take me to this restaurant. And surprisingly, my friend asked, and he said, sure, I'll take her. I'm like, what? Is this a joke? And it wasn't. He actually came, picked me up, drove me 2 hours outside of Barcelona to have a meal. The ride was awkward, honestly. We had nothing to talk about. I was like, okay, I don't want to feel like a groupie or look like a groupie, so hey, what's up? How are you doing? Oh, I'm fine, and you? I'm good. Look out the window. So, but when we got to the restaurant, everything changed. All guards came down. We talked about the food. We laughed. We had an amazing time. And food had this just magical ability to like bring us together. And that was my most memorable meal. And after that, I actually quit my job to pursue my passion for food. And so what that said to me is that, okay, food was able to connect me to an international superstar. So what about the billions of people, everyday people who are just there? We eat 3 times a day, so why not use just one time to meet a new person? You know, everyone has an amazing story to tell, and every meal with a stranger is a new story told, a new story heard, a new perspective on life. So I decided to create Spoon Date. So Spoon Date is very simple. You post what you're craving, and people in your area can meet up with you to share a meal. And to me, I mean, we're in the community in an era where people are very eager to share. We share on Facebook, we share on Twitter, but what about sharing in real life? And that's what we do. We want to connect people online, but really push them out to the real world and have them experience real life. So there's something very interesting that we've noticed is that on Spoon Date, one of the questions is, with $25 for a meal allowance, what would you do? And it's surprising how many people said, I would buy food and share with a friend. So food increases our willingness to share, and that's what we want to promote. So our small victories are the new friendship made, the romantic sparks, even the recommendations for new places that opens people's heart to new things. I bet none of you would be willing to share a bed with a stranger, but when it comes to food, it makes the awkward less awkward. And right now, we're happy to see interactions being made and people moving away from their computers to open themselves to new culture through food in a way that's very natural to us. Human beings, we're social creatures. We want community, we want companionship, we want friendship, but where do we begin? We work all the time. Like, where do we look without feeling awkward about it? And that's what we want to do. We want to mirror the way life happens, you know? And food is something that's a big part of us, and we can do it through that. So right now, people are meeting, but my dream is that one day I read somewhere that an Israeli and a Palestinian refugees met on the border to share a plate of hummus. To me, that's success. And I hope that one day Spoon Date takes us there. And so I'm gonna leave you with 3 of my favorite words. And that is, actually before I get there, there's a French epicure that said, dis-moi ce que tu manges et je te dirai qui tu es. All that means is, tell me what you eat and I tell you who you are. And so much about who we are, it's conveyed through the food choices we make. And we want people to become better people through the food, care about the community, the environment, the people around them. And so the 3 words that I want to leave you with are, food is love, so please don't starve yourself.